Going back to your time at the Center for Research on Women, what were some of the challenges that you faced during the beginning when you were starting the center?
Well, our biggest challenge was money.
Mm.
Miriam Chamberlain at the Ford Foundation told me that I needed to get a commitment from the provost at Stanford, Bill Miller, that when the Ford money came, that Stanford would put money in as well, and I did. And Bill Miller made it very clear, though, that Stanford was never going to fully support the center, that we had to have outside funds. And it was very hard to get outside funds because the development office was really uncooperative. I remember one time IBM was very interested in having more women in management and in science. And so when they did a site visit at Stanford, one person came to the Center for Research on Women and met with me and was very excited about the center. And then the development office told me we couldn't ask them for more than $5,000 because the development office wanted them to give money to the School of Engineering, not to the Center for Research on Women. Mm-hmm. So we were very low on their priority list, the development office. And mostly they were a negative because every time I said I wanted to approach whoever, they said, oh, no, that person is reserved for whatever. So I finally decided that I was better off without them than with them. And I just went off and did my thing without telling them. And then when a check came, they never asked me to return it. So, but it was very hard because women who had their own money were generally widows, and they had money managers who were men. And even though the women were interested in supporting research on women, their money managers were not. And the women were not sophisticated enough or aggressive enough to say to their money manager, look, it's my money, we're going to give the gift here. And so it was very hard to get money. And it's interesting, the center's first major gift came years later from Barbara Finberg, who had been a trustee at Stanford and who had her own money. And she endowed the directorship of the center. And by then I think it was called IRWIG, the Institute for Research on Women and Gender. It's changed its name 3 times. It started Center for Research on Women, Institute for Research on Women and Gender, and then one of my students from the business school, Michelle Clayman, who went to New York and was very successful in her company, also had her own money. She endowed the whole center, and now it's called the Michelle Clayman Institute for Gender Research. So, finally, when there were women who had their own money, they donated it to the center, the institute, and so, that's what's enabled the institute. Well, that's not the only thing, but it's enabled the institute to flourish in a way that we struggled so hard for money when we started out. I used to joke, we never did a bake sale, but we spent so much time asking for so little money that we might as well have had a bake sale. So.